The next 4 quarters, only keep it light. Strapped in tight, we're taking flight. From the field to the court, we'll have our sight.
Well, all right, we're back for another week. Next 4 quarters. This is our main course. It's Gary, Vic, Tony, and I'm Daryl. And yeah, let's kick it off with just a recap of our divisional weekend. So the Bills-Chiefs game was the exact game that we thought it was going to be, right? Like we all thought it was going to be like that.
I mean, that third down was definitely a first down that turned into a fourth down that was definitely a first down. That ended up the Chiefs getting the ball back.
My biggest complaint out of the whole thing was the catch.
The catch was even worse. The catch, it was blatantly on the field. And the announcer
was incomplete. That's an incomplete pass.
It's blatant. It's on the field.
They're like, no, tie goes to the receiver. Tie it to the ground? Like, what are we calling
Yeah, what are we tying with? The ball was laying on the ground. It was the most... that was disgusting.
Because when he went for that 4th and inches, I was like, his whole body's across the line. If his whole body's across the line, that means the ball is across the line, right?
Every time the third down and the fourth down, they marked it. He was easily across. Was it the 30? Is that
was it Dalton Kincaid?
Yeah,
like
Dalton
he
Kincaid
got it
past the 30, and they marked it at the 29. I'm like, what? Are you kidding me?
Like,
and then when
that one you're like, okay, 4th and 1, whatever, okay.
Yeah, and easily, his numbers were past the spot that he needed to. Like his hips were almost past it. How the NFL doesn't address the officiating issues with the Chiefs is just beyond me.
It's ridiculous. That's why stuff needs to be reviewed.
Remember when the play happened against the Bills? It was a Chiefs-Bills game, and Tony lined up offsides, and it cost the Chiefs the game against the Bills in the regular season. And Mahomes went on this whole bitching spree and calling out the refs.
You can't call that at that time.
But ever since that point, they've gotten every fucking call. If you remember, ever since then,
and
we were talking about this earlier. It's the benefit of the call. You know how you get the benefit of the doubt. The Chiefs always get the benefit of the call, no matter what. It's like, no, if it's questionable, Chiefs, and that's the problem. Because even on that 4th and inches, Chris Jones's head was over the ball. I was like, that should have been offsides. Like there's so many things that was wrong on that play.
Thank you, baby.
They ran the quarterback sneak, and they were stuffing it. More so than it's ever been. Yeah. Okay, so they game planned for that. Okay, hand it to Cook. Fake it, hand it to Cook. That guy was running hard as hell, dude.
Yes.
Do something different. You got to outcoach, outplay them.
Yeah, we're going to come back to the coaching part because
match their intensity.
Are you really going to outcoach Andy Reid?
You got to try, man. I mean, if you call your bread and butter and they're stopping it, and you notice that they're playing it hard, you got to
try something else.
I just saw this thing the other day. That was the most mind-numbing thing ever. Andy Reid is the most winning coach for the Eagles and the Chiefs. That's retarded. That's dumb. That is the dumbest thing ever.
Hey, he's a really good coach. No one's doubting that. He's good.
That coaching staff they have is a big part of why they win.
Yes.
And it's infuriating because the Broncos lost four coaches and the Chiefs lost none. They didn't lose Spagnuolo. They didn't lose anybody.
No.
Pick one of the Chiefs guys.
They didn't even interview him.
We have one winning season.
Yeah, they interviewed 0 people from the Chiefs, so it's fine.
I don't think Spagnuolo wants to leave. Why?
Why would you? Yeah.
He's probably getting a head coach type salary or close to it. Probably the highest paid defensive coordinator, isn't he? I don't even know, but he should be.
Well, I don't think he was that good of a head coach. When he was a head coach, I don't think he had that good of a record anyways. He's tried and he just didn't do that good at it.
It's like Wade Phillips, man. Just stick to doing what you do best.
Better coordinator.
Yes. Championship quality coordinator.
I mean,
yearly championship quality coordinator.
And that's fine. Some people are just made to be coordinators, like McDaniels, great offensive coordinator.
Oh, he'll ruin a franchise head coach, though. Jesus. Ruin multiple franchises.
Vic Fangio, great defensive coordinator. Should not be a head coach. They are better at that aspect.
Dude, Mahomes has beat Fangio's defense.
He's 8-0.
He's 8-0 against Fangio's defense. That's what scares me.
Mahomes is good. Mahomes is really good, and Andy Reid is really fucking smart.
Game planning, man. It's hard to watch.
They got the perfect combination of everything.
Like the Bills went into this game with the game plan that they used in every game, and Andy Reid went into this game. We're going to stop their game plan,
right? But the only thing they can't stop is the run. They weren't able to stop James Cook, and they're like, we're not going to run this guy at all. Most
they
of it,
didn't have
Josh
to.
Allen.
we're not going to run him.
They just had to stop Josh Allen because they knew that on every short yardage situation they were going to try the tush push with Josh Allen. They should have just went to a regular quarterback run.
Why didn't you run him out of the gun? Give him an option.
Hand it to your running back who's running like beast mode back there. Seriously.
Yes.
Anything.
Just change it up, right?
Speaking of officiating, I don't know if we touched on it last week. Was it 2 weeks ago or last week when the officials actually said they were going to give a touchdown away?
That was Commanders.
That was
Eagles.
this week.
Wasn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah. Was it this week where they're like, if you don't quit, we're just going to give them a touchdown? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I didn't know that was a thing. Like that.
Yeah,
That's a
I don't
rule.
know if it is. Is it?
Yeah, it's an
They
actual
say it's a
rule.
rule, yeah.
I think it's a safety thing, right? Because if you keep jumping over the pile, hitting people, I mean, when I first heard it, I was like, this is ridiculous. And then you think about it, and you're like, okay, if you're at the 50-yard line, there's no way you can give somebody a fucking touchdown.
Well, that and like
But if you're at the
penalty
1-inch
is,
line and somebody keeps jumping up sides religiously,
well, because the penalty is what half the distance to the goal. Like, how many times can you go half the distance to the goal before you're just like, really?
There is
dude?
no half.
Yeah, there is no half. It's in there. Yeah, it's going to touch a blade of white grass. Look at the score on the hike.
I think it might end up getting rid of the tush push because how else are they supposed to stop it if they can't? Like they're trying to
stopped Josh Allen.
Snap count. Well, the Chiefs did.
Yeah, I'm just saying
else
it's one team specific for the tush push. Like it works for them. What 98% of the time?
Oh, yeah,
I've seen them get stopped like maybe once.
I don't even know. Like, yeah, it's ridiculous. You know it's coming. How do you not stop it?
but it just sorry, it just shows you people. If you keep trying, I mean, eventually you'll score, right? Even if it's a no, I mean, keep trying.
Yeah, just keep going, man.
Just keep
They'll
going.
give it to you. They'll give it to
What
you.
did AOC say? No doesn't mean stop. No means find another way.
Did you see Bill Cosby?
I think.
Sorry.
I think the one that reminds me most of that is, or the one that reminds me a lot of the tush push is Tom Brady. Tom Brady never didn't get a quarterback sneak. You're like, how do you do this every time? And he didn't even have help, right? Like, think of how success. I think Tom Brady was the same thing. Like 93% of all of his quarterback sneaks went for a first down. It was absolutely astronomical.
Well, he'd pick a side. He's like, I'm going to this side of the center or that side of the center.
And he'd go low. He wouldn't try to force his way through. He'd shoot through a gap.
Yeah, and he'd always have like a body length. You're like, man, you're getting this easy.
But he had great centers and guards too, all the time.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did. So now that we're done with the Chiefs,
now we can go to Eagles Commanders. Eagles Commanders, they that was the team that I thought the Commanders were going to be all year.
Yeah,
they were just playing like amazingly all year, and then finally like they had a bad game. That's what happens when you have a bad game.
I didn't expect them to get beat that bad.
No,
but Dan Quinn as the defensive coordinator, head coach and coordinator. I didn't.
Well,
think
you got 3 fumbles, and the Eagles got a touchdown off all 3 fumbles. That's not good.
Well, when you go down, you get 3, and then the very first play is like, "Oh, here you go, Barkley. Just go ahead and take it to the house." Kind of really kills any momentum you had. You're like, "Well, damn."
Mm-hmm. I mean,
anybody can run the ball for the Eagles, though it seems like, and do the same shit.
But Saquon Barkley's pretty good.
Yeah.
No, yeah, he's obviously, but.
They had Miles Sanders, who looked amazing in that offense. Jalen Hurts, who looks amazing. But when you put a good player in that role, they look even better. It's like when McCaffrey went to the 49ers.
Oh, yeah.
He was a good player, and he went to Shanahan's system that already could do, just plug and play. And then you get a good player like, oh, this is what it's supposed to look like. Like, look at that. That's a great player and a good offense.
What does his brother play? His brother plays for the Commanders.
I think he was a receiver.
He's a receiver?
I think Luke's a receiver.
Like, how would you like to be that guy? Like, your dad is Ed McCaffrey, who is like a Broncos icon. His brother is Christian McCaffrey, and you're like, who? What team? What position does he play again? How would you like to be? How would you like to be that McCaffrey?
I'm just happy to be in the league. Just waving at people.
You're just struggling to get almost like Bronny James. You're just there.
You mean MVP Bronny James?
I don't know if it's quite that level.
That dude is bad. Did
what's the ball brother
jumper where he had a fadeaway jumper the other night that didn't even draw a net?
Yeah, it was awful. That was the worst I've ever seen somebody play. Like 0 shots made, 3 or 4 like it was embarrassing.
What's the ball brother that doesn't play basketball?
I don't know. Because there's LaMelo, D'Angelo, and
Lorenzo.
Jello,
right?
whatever they call him Jello. that guy is better than Bronny James, and he doesn't even play basketball. No, he really is. Like
he is.
Well, look at his highlight. He is.
He didn't hit the net. Like you got 18 inches you missed.
Jello Ball is a fucking rapper, and he plays better basketball. Like seriously, I'm not even joking.
To be fair, Angel Reese is closer on her shots.
Oh yeah. So do you think part of the reason,
I don't know about that,
like Bronny James is so bad? Like I think it's the hype his dad gave him coming in. So all these players are just like, I'm gonna fucking destroy this kid. They play full court defense on him sometimes, like for no reason. They just play full court defense. They do all they can to fuck this kid.
Well, because
he doesn't deserve it. He does
exactly. That's the whole
there.
reason. He didn't deserve to be picked where he was picked. He doesn't deserve to play where he plays.
The things.
Yeah, all the things. So why wouldn't you play harder against that guy? That's like picking on like the disabled kid, you know, when they're trying to play something like important. You're like,
well, it's like you can't beat his dad,
fruit, man. But you're just like,
his dad's been so great. So you got his little kid on the court. You're like, all right, I'm gonna take it out on him.
I get being proud of your kids, but eventually you just got to admit, like,
he's that good.
He's not that guy. He's not the guy I made him out to be. He would be a okay player, just not in the NBA. Like, he might be good
in China,
Europe League. Like,
no, he would not be good
somewhere else.
I mean, he's not playing in China.
Let's talk about this. He's not playing with Doncic and Joker, so he is not successful in Europe. No. Because DeMarcus Cousins is still successful, and I think Marbury still plays in China. That's good. Send him to China.
That works.
Yeah. Remember how much shit they gave LeVar Ball?
Yes.
About his kids, but his kids are actually pretty damn good.
Yeah.
Like, but they give that guy so much shit about, oh, you're hyping your kids up too much. You're always talking about your kids. You're always on TV talking this. They actually show up and play.
Yeah,
I think it's the way he does it.
I was going to say, first off, yeah, they're good because one of them just had like 60 points or something ridiculous the other night, didn't he? Was that the other night? Or was
I don't know, but I know they all start.
Yeah.
For their teams. And like they're like the main player.
I think it was more. Go ahead.
No, at least the one that plays for the Hornets, man. Like I know
LaMelo.
He good.
Yeah, he's real good. I was gonna say I think a lot of it was, but didn't he have like $10,000 shoes when he came out or something ridiculous?
They were like 1,000 at least.
Yeah, it was like the merchandising of his kids when it wasn't guaranteed.
I don't see that as a bad thing, man. Hey, try it. Like what the fuck? If it fails, it fails. Your kids are successful.
You could try it, but you're also going to get the backlash.
All right,
so,
cool.
I mean, it's kind of justified the backlash, right? Yeah, go ahead and try it, but guess what? Everybody's going to make fun of you while you're doing it.
Yeah, to me, LeVar Ball was like, what's the Kardashian mom? Like, what's her name? Kris Jenner?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
always just trying to
that
push
one.
everything into the spotlight.
I thought you meant the actual mom. Sorry, Gary.
Listen, let's never put anybody in that bad category as Kris Jenner because she pimped her kids out to pornography. I mean, she actively engaged in like, go do this. And then they're wondering why everybody's messed up. Like,
but see, that's how LeVar Ball came across at first when they first started coming out. Like, that's how he came across.
Well, I think it's because just LeVar Ball's like really easy to hate. He came out, you know, talking smack, had that big baller brand crap. Like, he knew his kids were good. But then he's like, I could beat Jordan. And, you know, he really picked that villain role. And like, you're like, oh, I hate this guy. But it got all of them notoriety.
Yeah.
I mean that's the ultimate goal, right?
He knows he couldn't have beat Jordan, but he said it.
Yeah.
And he acted like he meant it. And that was just, like you said, playing the villain role. Because even when he was telling Stephen A. Smith, I ain't never lost one-on-one. He was trying to keep a laugh back, dude. Like, he was trying to keep the laughter back because he knew it was outrageous. But I loved every second of it.
Well, the thing of it too is, I mean, the dad, is it LeVar? Yeah. LeVar Ball was on WWF, and you watch the way they operated. It was stereotypical 1980s World Wrestling, Vince McMahon Federation. Like, I never lost one-on-one. Yeah. It's play the victim, get the views. Whether you're that good or not is irrelevant to the amount of money you'll make by having people's name in your mouth. So, marketing wise,
beautiful.
Kudos.
Yeah, beautiful job.
Bronny James is trash.
And we say all that to say that
Bronny James sucks.
Going back to the original conversation, still the worst player on any team.
He would destroy.
Yeah, I mean, I got no chance on one-on-one with Bronny, but I mean, I get the net maybe.
He's on a level that he's not. He can't compete.
I'd be willing to bet he is probably the least talented person on any NBA roster, to include Udonis Haslem, who I think is still on the Heat. I think Udonis Haslem is still on the roster.
I think he's retired. He has a podcast.
I think he actually retired.
Maybe this year.
Maybe 2 years.
Huh?
I think the end of last season was his last season.
I think
retired.
I mean, it was astronomical how long they kept him on an active roster in the NBA.
Well, he talked about it that Pat Riley just liked his leadership and how he helped the other players coming in to adapt to the Heat culture.
Yeah.
That's the only reason why he got picked.
And he was a good player.
And he's better than Ronnie James.
Yep.
Like, he deserved to be there.
Dude, it is embarrassing, kind of like, dude, he's not good.
No, when they put him in the game, I was like, what would you put him in the game?
Dude, and LeBron even said he could choose to do whatever he wants. He could be the CEO of my companies. He could do what I have jobs for him everywhere. He wants to do this. I'm like, he's not good at that.
I used to tell my kids, you could sing every day. That doesn't make you a good singer.
No.
Some people just need to acknowledge and be honest with their kids. Like, you're not a good singer.
No.
You're not a good basketball player.
I mean, it's simple. Bronny James just got contributions from everybody when he was trying to become an NBA player, and that's what happened. Much like Bernie Sanders, who just got contributions from everybody.
He was like, hold on.
Out of 200 million, though, Daryl. Out of 200 million.
It was only 1.5. 1 point.
I got a small amount.
That was the most, when RFK said, and the corruption doesn't stop at this room there, Bernie, because you are the largest receiver of the workers. The executives are the workers. You notice how he didn't respond to that part when he goes, well, the executive, the workers.
And then he starts throwing numbers at him. You're like, dude.
Hey, let's get back on the main course track.
Yeah, I mean,
we can save all this. We can save all this for next hour.
Just rewind back to the coaching, the Buffalo versus KC coaching, like we were talking about. Like Andy Reid, how are you going to outcoach him? You're not. But Andy Reid's got them little sizzle plays where they're going to stretch the field. Like on 4th or 3rd and 9, they're going to play the boundaries. And what do? They run the Samaje Perine to the boundary. All he's got to do is make one guy miss. He has that much faith to have like his player against another player and be like, you just got to make a miss. Make one guy miss. That's all.
It's situational coaching is what I'm saying. Like, so what's his name for the Eagles? Head coach, I forget his name. Sirianni. He needs to be the best he could be situationally, not try to out-coach Andy Reid. But on a play like you gotta understand situations. You gotta study your opponent and situations. You're not gonna have better plays than him, maybe, but you just gotta understand what he's gonna do in certain situations. Because Andy Reid will fucking tear you apart, man. Like just like that play. Like who's guarding the fucking running back? Why ain't you playing man to man? On a game like you should have a linebacker man to man on fucking Perine.
Yes.
Where the fuck was he?
He was running across the field. He's like, oh, that's my guy. It's like, oh, dude, timeout. You call a timeout if you got one, I hear.
Well,
Jesus,
the other thing, the other thing that Andy Reid does is so crazy is it doesn't matter who brings the play in, he's going to entertain it. Do you guys know that?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if you've ever seen like that one time where they all lined up, standing up, except for the center on one side of the ball. It was absolutely ridiculous. It was during the regular season.
Was that the one where they were like doing spins and twists and stuff? Yeah.
And that was a play that Tyreek Hill came up with. The one where Dontero Poe threw the touchdown, they called it the bloated Tebow. He drew that play up because he wanted to throw a touchdown. Like, it doesn't, I mean, when you're coaching against crazy, like, you got players drawing up the most ridiculous plays on the planet, and he's like, let's do that. What? Yeah, let's do that one right there.
Yeah, that's fine. Go ahead.
Yeah,
that's where being disciplined matters. Like, you got to be disciplined on what your assignment is, period. Don't get caught up in what the fuck you're looking at. Who's your guy?
My big thing is, like, so when the coaching come down to it was their tackling. If you look at the Chiefs tackling, they really do tackle the guy. Like, if they get him wrapped up, they tackle him. Mm-hmm. They don't get away. Yeah. They might have an ankle, might have a toe, can't get away from him. Like Karlaftis, he had the tight end's ankle, wouldn't let him go. He was trying to stretch it out. I was like, man, you guys do really good at tackling. Like, I got to give you that.
And talk about player development with that guy.
Yeah.
That guy, to me, like, I don't watch the Chiefs all the time, but like it seemed like he came out of nowhere.
No,
that's coaching right there.
What he didn't, they drafted him fairly high. I think 27th. because I was living in Kansas City when it happened, and the pick was pretty much he would be more like a just a workman's defensive lineman that would never be anything more than just a solid starter. Kind of like, they compared him to Derek Wolfe almost. You know what I mean? Just a workman, and that's kind of what he is,
He makes crucial plays, man.
Yeah.
He's just like Derek Wolfe used to be, right? Just comes in, makes plays, doesn't ask for attention. That is exactly who they compared him to when he was drafted at 28. But they thought they drafted him a little high because Derek Wolfe was like a 40th pick or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Where did Dennis Jones come from? Like what college?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Anybody know? Because what?
No, I remember his combine because his junk fell out like while he was running.
Tony, have you not seen that video?
I haven't. Let's pull it up. No, just kidding. I'm just playing. I want to see it flopping out. Let's go.
You can't unsee it forever in your life.
I'm just.
I goddamn guarantee you that much. It looks
but they drafted him and he's been there the whole time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like they drafted him, what, 14, 15?
Like
15?
That I don't know.
Seems like he's the core group, He's with the core group, Mahomes, Kelsey, that kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean, and he's always forever known as the guy at the combine.
I don't even know that story.
That's
crazy.
His combine, his name in the combine is more synonymous now than Bo Jackson in the combine. Hey, you remember that one guy at the combine? The guy that get them like this, run
guy
down
that was slapping his knee.
It was that bad, huh?
I can see Tony's algorithm going to shit after this podcast today.
It was that bad, huh?
Tony, how did you not see this?
I don't look up shit like that, I guess.
It was during the combine. You're just watching the combine like,
all over
what is this?
When it happened.
Like it came out of the shorts.
Like literally, it was all over. Like that's all you could see. It was all over.
And then he falls down and he's like trying to tuck it in and stuff, dude.
Tuck it in.
Okay, so I want you to listen to all the words used to describe this because trying to get it back in his pants all over the place. If he wasn't on film doing that, he would have a promising career doing something different. I promise you that much.
No wonder why he dominates the middle.
He's got an extra arm out there, Tom.
I'll never have an issue tucking it in. It's one
tripod
grab
for real.
And
the dude is a tripod for
done.
real. Yeah. I cannot even believe you've never seen. It was the most ridiculous thing.
I need to look this shit up.
Anyways,
is it weird that I want to look it up? Is it weird?
No.
Anyways, speaking of Travis Kelce, is he retiring after this game? What do you guys think?
Yeah, because he's going to be a three-peater. Of course he's going to retire.
I think he's done.
It depends on the game.
I hope that a meteor hits the stadium, except for Saquon Barkley and Jalen Hurts. That's it.
And all the
during
fans.
warm-ups. During warm-ups, so there's no fans there.
Oh.
I just want the Eagles. Yeah, I want the Eagles and Patty Mahomes and all of them. Meteors.
Just take them out.
Yeah, that's...
Anyway, sticking on the coaching line.
I want people to die.
Now that the AFC West has Pete Carroll, Andy Reid, Sean Payton, and Jim Harbaugh, isn't it like a murderer's row of head coaches? You're like, this is disgusting.
Now, I'm going to say this I'm going to say this to trigger somebody. We got the fourth best coach in our division now.
So I'm going to disagree with you, actually, Tony, because I think Pete Carroll is still the fourth worst in the division.
Who's the third worst?
Well, Sean Payton. I think Jim Harbaugh is a better coach. And we all know Andy Reid is definitely the top of the division. Like, he's the top of all coaches. Like, it's Andy Reid.
And then Harbaugh.
I think Jim Harbaugh is a better coach.
I give Sean Payton the nod over Harbaugh just because he has won a Super Bowl.
I would say that.
He's coached 20-some years in the league almost.
Harbaugh's
got the Super Bowl.
Quite a few.
Harbaugh's coached. This is Harbaugh's 5th year as a coach, going on his 6th.
I mean, he did have Kaepernick, and he could have just beat his brother to win, but couldn't do that either.
And they were up like 20 points.
And then the lights went out, and all of a sudden he forgot how to coach.
They weren't up 20 points. It was the Ravens that were up 20 points.
It's all right. Lights went out, and then they forgot how to do stuff.
But
you put Pete Carroll over. You don't put Pete Carroll over Sean Payton. He's been to two.
I think
two.
Yeah, but
he has
won
natty.
one.
He has a natty.
And he did have Marshawn Lynch and chose to throw the ball.
So Pete Carroll came in at the right time.
He has a natty or two, doesn't he? Two
He's
national
got one.
championships.
I think one.
I don't know.
Those two.
Because he lost to Vince Young, right? Didn't he lose to Vince Young?
Oh, yeah. That was a historic one. Yeah, then he won the one before that, huh? So he hasn't won. So he's won one, lost one in both levels. I don't know, man. Sean Payton's probably the worst coach.
So we saying
Pete
Harbaugh's the bottom?
Pete Carroll is 90, or he's 74 years old at the start of the season.
He's 90.
He might as well be.
Pete Carroll's 90 years old.
74. 173. He's Methuselah.
He'll be 74
It's
years old.
Methuselah.
74 years old at the start of the season.
This guy's Noah.
He doesn't have the talent he had with the Seahawks, all-around talent.
He wrote the forward in the Bible.
Yeah.
Give me the
I
print.
mean, I
We can all
think
agree Sean Payton's the worst coach in the AFC West, right?
I think it's a bad. I think Pete Carroll was a bad hire.
I'm thinking the Raiders had no choice but to hire an established head coach just in order to compete on a coaching level in the AFC West.
Well, they're
Because
obviously not competing talent-wise.
I guarantee you this.
If they get a quarterback, they got a chance.
Their drafting will be better, and their defense will be better. Guaranteed.
It just
Pete
depends on
Carroll
what
can
quarterback they
draft.
get.
He knows how to pick college players, and his defense will be good.
Well, he knew
That'll
how
be-
to
that's
20 years
guaranteed.
ago. 20
He
years
did.
ago.
It was a long time since he's been in it, and a lot of coaches go from, it was a Seahawks that he coached last. Yeah, he didn't go to college.
No,
Oh,
he
yeah,
was
No,
kind of
he
pushed
was
out.
Seahawks.
No, but I'm saying,
Was he pushed
he
out?
built the Legion of Boom
Kinda.
in that defense. Like,
Well,
and
yeah,
2
because
draft passes.
he came out of college, so he knew who to draft. Like, he watched these guys. He hasn't been in college now.
Kind of like
since then.
Harbaugh.
but you still watch.
Like, he
you
built
still
these guys. He built those. Like, he came in at the right time. That was a good time to come into coaching.
Okay, here's what I'm going to say. I think you have Andy Reid, who is pretty much, he's reaching like Bill Belichick, Chuck Noll type.
Well, I'm just
Or,
saying, like, if he's the winning most coach for 2 separate teams,
Yeah,
he
speaking
kind of
of-
gets the nod over Belichick.
I got a pretty cool that I want to pick the Super Bowl, but this list that I got is a good one because you guys are going to be shocked. That's one of the most underrated players I think maybe ever that just always gets overlooked. Who do we like in the Super Bowl?
I'm
Hold
taking
on.
Eagles.
Yes. I'm going to go with the Chiefs. I just want somebody else to not pick with their heart.
I gotta go against Gary, so it's whatever he picks. I'm the opposite. I want to pick the Chiefs, but if he picks them, obviously I'm going Eagles.
Look at the
don't know.
defeat.
I don't know.
That is like
The
you
Eagles-
can't hate defeat any more than that.
I really think the
Eagles
Chiefs are going to
the
win,
better
man.
team. The Eagles are the better team, but I think the Chiefs are going to fucking win. I think they're going to win.
Is it going to be a
Say it.
standard Chiefs win by 3 or an overtime or,
I could see
they got
it
to do the
going.
length of the field, game-winning drive, like standard
I
Chiefs
could
shit?
see it. I could see it being a close game, but
Who you picking?
fuck it, I'm going with the Eagles.
All right.
3-peat, baby.
All right.
I'm probably wrong. It'll probably be the Chiefs, but
Yeah, I'm going
I mean,
Eagles.
team-wise, the Eagles are a far superior team.
I will
They'll-
gladly chew on one of these if the Chiefs lose.
You guys want to do a
So-
live broadcast during the Super Bowl and the losers got to eat the sucker?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
During the trophy
That's a
presentation.
long time to be live.
That's a lot of suckers to
We
eat.
still need to do your suckers though.
I was going to do it with the loser that
Yeah.
we said we'd all do it.
There's
at the
just going to
same
be
time.
dicks all over the screen for that.
Just
It'll
all
be
dick,
just
dick
dicks everywhere.
everywhere. Just
It'd be like the Chris Jones podcast.
yeah, Chris Jones running the fucking 40.
Tony's already looking it up. Look at him. He's like, Chris Jones 40-yard
No,
dash.
I
does it
spoke
on his
about it
wife's
before we
phone to not
started.
screw up
I
his
got a lot
algorithm.
going on here. I'm trying to do
Just
all kinds of
be
shit.
glad we're not doing the Chris Jones sucker challenge.
That would take the whole Super Bowl.
Oh, God, it'd take all day.
Take all day.
It would be like, you guys remember those? You guys remember those gigantic jawbreakers?
There
that were,
would
like,
be a black
ridiculous?
licorice one in here if that was the case.
You'd have to pay extra to get it shipped because of the weight.
And I love me some black licorice, but no. Oh God, what are we doing?
God.
I'm
Oh,
scrambling
man.
over here.
Oh my God.
Just
Where we
to
at?
stay on coaching.
Yeah,
The weakest head coaching hire goes to the Cowboys, right? Like the Saints don't have a coach
No.
yet.
I said that until Duval.
Oh my
Oh,
God,
man.
dude, his eyebrows did it. Like,
Yeah, it was one up, one down, and I'm a weird face.
Like,
Yeah, it was-
I really thought
was
Jerry
weird.
Jones couldn't get any dumber, as a general manager,
and
then
totally
Khan
redeemed
hires
himself.
So here's the thing. That's the guy Jacksonville wanted. They got rid of their GM just to specifically get that guy.
Just so he can show up to that press conference with Jacksonville. Duval.
You kind of look like him, Daryl. The way you do it again.
I tried, man.
Do it again.
Duval.
Listen, here's the thing. You knew that dude had planned on doing that in the press conference, right? Like he's
that was rehearsed
in the mirror. Yeah, I mean that didn't just happen. That
He practiced in the mirror.
He did practice in the mirror.
Could you imagine like that? Like your wife's like, "What are you doing?" It's almost there.
Hold on.
I'm worried.
Duval.
But why? I don't know. But it seems like a fix.
Yeah, seems like what I got to say.
Just stupid, man. That is.
But the Saints don't even have a head coach. Mike McCarthy's out of the running. Apparently, the Saints want Kellen Moore. Apparently, he's the front runner right now. But Brian Schottenheimer?
They're tanking. They're tanking for fucking Arch Manning. I heard somebody say that on like one of the shows.
They might be.
They're going to give Brian Schottenheimer, or whatever his name is, a shot. Tank, get Arch Manning, hire a good coach.
How funny would it be
do
if Archie Manning or Schottenheimer went out and they're like
and just destroyed?
Yeah. Well, I don't know if he could destroy anything, but maybe go like
NFC championship loss.
Yeah. So enough
Really
to
put him
make
in a
just
predicament.
one rung higher than McCarthy.
To what you need, but you know you need a good pick, but you're 7-9, so you get that like 18 pick, and you're like, what are we going to do with this?
Yeah,
you know,
there's
like,
nobody here.
These are building block players, not like difference makers like we need. He'd be like the Ted Lasso of football.
We're paying you to tank. Well, I tried, and we ended up 8-9.
What are we going to do with that?
How does that help us at all?
I don't know. Yeah.
I was like, you got a head coach with a guy that hasn't called plays in forever?
Yeah. I don't even know.
I was like, I took a lot of shit and watched this guy do decent, because the Cowboys still have talent. They just don't have cohesive talent.
They have Jerry Jones as a general manager.
Could you imagine if they would have signed Henry?
I think they'd be they'd be in the same boat. Maybe one more win.
If Dak wouldn't have got hurt and they had Henry, I don't know, dude.
It'd be all right.
I don't know. It could have
competitive
changed.
at least.
Yeah.
So did you see LaShawn McCoy saying Jerry Jones is not to blame for any of that?
What? Why?
He's drafted. You remember when they had one of the best offensive lines? He drafted and picked him. He got Dak Prescott. He went and got Micah Parsons. Like he's done.
At some point, the magic runs off. Like at some point, the pixie dust just goes away.
Listen,
I think it's more him trying to control the coach than it is his players, because they have good players.
No.
Brand.
I'm gonna argue this, and I don't know if you're arguing for the McCoy just because McCoy said it or whatever. I remember when Jimmy Johnson wanted to trade Herschel Walker, right? So what built that team was that trade, and the Vikings gave, I think, 3 or 4 first-round draft picks. I mean, they fleeced. If you didn't make a winning franchise out of that, you were the worst GM. And that was when, the U had all the talent, right? And they went out and they got Michael Irvin and all those guys. And it was evident that Jimmy Johnson had all of it to do with that, because he hasn't managed the same success, right?
But since then, look at the players he's got.
Hold on, let me just finish that thought real quick. He hasn't managed that success or even comparable to that. And him and Jimmy Johnson got into it. And he said, I don't need you. A monkey could coach this team. He hired Barry Switzer. And since then, they haven't seen. He's got some good picks. CeeDee Lamb, Dak Prescott, that Diggs that plays corner. But that team from the 90s, my gosh, that had to go down as one of the best teams ever. With the defensive line, the offensive line, the running back, the receivers, they were amazing. Their fullback, their tight end, they were amazing.
So my point is, though, it's not as player picking, because they still get good players. They get a lot of good players. They just in the last 15 years, they've had great players with good chances. It's more of the coaching problem than it is the player problem. He needs to remove himself from trying to tell the coaches how to coach. Like, he doesn't have a player problem.
I think it is like a personal issue, because like he stays on players too long. He gives them way too much like runway. It's like if you trade this player before they're due a max contract to you're not going to get like your return back on him.
Mhm.
You can get another player to fill that hole.
But like,
since
look
he
when they
is
had Tony
GM, he
Romo,
controls
Des Bryant,
personnel.
like, they were great.
Yeah, but I'm just saying he controls personnel.
They were competitive. They never went to the Super Bowl. So
They should have.
were
That was a
competitive.
catch. We all could say that was a catch.
Dez's catch was a catch, but then they would
That
have to
was
go
a
play the
catch.
Seahawks.
Yeah, then they wouldn't have beat the Seahawks back in the day.
I mean,
it was,
Tony Romo couldn't hold the
it was
what was it, extra
Methuselah back
point?
then. So
Against the Seahawks.
Yeah,
But I'm
he was
just
not
saying,
a
like-
good coach, but yeah.
Yeah, no, I think it's a personnel decision issue. And he is, like, Jerry Jones is involved in the coaching aspect. You know he is. He's like, oh, no, I want this guy to play, and I want you to run this, and this is the offense I want to see. And
That's where he needs to take a step back, I think, because
His
he is
ego is-
not a coach.
I was
His
just
ego
going
is
to
bigger. It's his
He's
ego.
bigger than a championship.
yeah,
He needs
The
to say,
biggest-
I don't know how to coach a football team. I need to let the coach this fucking football team.
but he
The
also needs to
problem
get
with
the
Jerry
right coach.
Jones is this. Jerry Jones thinks he's Al Davis. Al Davis coached football. Al Davis played football. Al Davis knew football. And then he lost
Jerry
his mind.
Jones
Was a
can't coach.
fucking oil guy, right? So he saw Al Davis create the Super Bowl, literally create the Super Bowl. That was his idea because it used to be just a championship game. Run the NFL for years with his bad boy persona, and he liked that. So he got in, he bought his team, and he wanted to be Al Davis, not realizing that Al Davis was like the Pat Riley of the NFL, right? Like he knew football up until he got so old he lost his mind.
Speaking
Right.
of owners, did you see that article that came out about the Walmart or Denver's owners spending $12 million on new helmets for every team in Colorado?
Yeah, I thought that was
yeah, I
fantastic.
did see that. Yeah.
That's the
that-
shit, man. I'm like, God, we have the big ballers over here. Like
Yeah.
Denver has
We
like
got owners that give a
the
shit, man. It's
money
weird. They're like, yeah,
just
it's Walmart money. It's fine.
They
We
just
can
need
give
tax
money.
write-offs. They're like, what can we buy?
Right? We did too good this year.
Let's buy
We-
every team
we-
in
we gotta
Colorado
be a
new
little
helmets.
That,
No,
that,
it's awesome
that,
though.
yeah.
I thought the Bolins were great owners. I love Pat Bolin, but like
Oh yeah.
we have like owners that whatever the team needs, they're gonna get. Whatever the community needs, they're gonna get, and that's awesome. You know, signing bonus. You want signing bonus? There.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh,
let's
we need
restructure.
new grass on the field. New grass. Every,
Yeah,
every,
hear about
team,
that, Vic?
every team in Colorado needs
Yeah.
new helmets.
I
They all
can
get
hear you
helmets.
guys. I was just getting my mixed drink. It's today I'm going to do a limoncello.
Oh, you got like taste of something. Huh?
I'm gonna do
Essence.
I'm gonna do a. What are these?
Sometimes you got the Bud Wiper.
Pretty much the same thing.
And
Or what are these? Like I got two
black
different
raspberry.
types right here.
There you
Oh,
go.
man.
There you go. That's the one.
I got all kinds of shit.
Tony's mixing it up. He's going interracial over there.
So my mom's watching my son over here, so I
So-
could do this,
It's
and
like
she's bringing me beer as I'm doing this. I'm like, what is
Well, you
going
can't say
on?
no. You
I
can't
was
say
like,
no.
you're watching my son and bringing me alcohol. Like, what the fuck? Am I dying?
it's like a blackberry lemonade. It's not bad. And
It's not good. That water is
LaCroix
awful.
just like essence of whatever it is, right? It's like
Yeah,
you
I
it's
just,
love
awful.
shit out of a
like
mason
lemon.
jar,
Yep.
man.
You just like lick the lemon, like it tastes the same.
yeah, pretty much. It's like if water rode in a truck that had lemon,
That's
and you
what it
open
tastes
it
like.
up and you can smell it but
Yeah.
not taste it. Pretty much.
Watching you drink that
Yeah.
out of the glass, like I don't, dude. There's something about drinking out of glass. I don't know what it is.
Tony's
It
getting
makes it look
thirstier.
so much better,
He's,
bro.
he's getting thirstier by the minute.
I know. I need some
Look.
salt.
So what I was
what
going
we-
to
what
we
else
were
we got?
talking about the Broncos ownership.
Oh, yeah.
They and the helmets. I think that's great. I think it's awesome what they're doing for the community. They talked about a couple of years ago, or maybe it's finished. I don't know, since I'm not in Colorado, how they're building the new practice facility. Have you guys seen that?
Yeah.
I mean, right after getting the team, they're like, "This is not a practice facility." They spent like $8 million for like the best practice facility in the NFL. I mean, you're pretty much seeing what it's like to see real ownership since we haven't had it.
We'll have
Tell
a
the Joe
Super Bowl.
Ellis. I hate Joe Ellis. Go ahead.
We'll have a Super Bowl in Denver in the next 15 years. I bet 20
We will.
years.
Depending on the stadium. If they make a
Oh.
retractable roof, we're
They'll
getting a
make
Super
the
Bowl.
best
Oh.
stadium to date. I bet.
So I thought they were going to start playing in all weather for the Super Bowl. Like, didn't they say that
Yeah,
like
they-
4 years ago?
You
No,
know,
it
wait
just
for
never
Peyton Manning to
happened.
lose
They
against
did.
the Seahawks.
What do you mean? They did. When the Broncos took on the Seahawks, they played in New York
was it.
outside.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
that's it. Like now
And
it's
then,
all
like, the-
back to New Orleans and
yeah, bad idea.
like
Oh, 'cause, like,
that
Buffalo-
was, don't do
Have
that
you seen
again.
the Buffalo Stadium? It looks like spectacular. It's got like aerodynamic where like the shit goes around the fucking dome. You're like, this is crazy. Melts the snow and shit.
Really?
But it'll be
never have a
Walmart
Super Bowl there.
Stadium. Walmart Stadium at Mile High.
No, dude. Great value at Mile High.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I
But
think
you know
they're going away. They're going away from Great Value. They came out with that other brand, Better Foods or Better Goods.
Better
or something
Foods
like
at
that.
Mile High.
Yeah, Better Foods at Mile High.
Dude, they cannot take away the snow atmosphere at Mile High, though. They cannot do that. Like, maybe for the Super Bowl, the dome comes over. Playoff games, you gotta have the snow.
They can take away anything but that altitude.
You can't.
That altitude be killing teams.
I don't want to go to a Denver game and it be like in a dome in December.
Be beautiful.
No.
You're like, I don't want to go to that game and enjoy myself. I want to freeze my fingers off.
I want to lose a toe today. At least one.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's a pinky toe. That's what I want. For real.
Nobody cares about pinky toe.
Well, yeah, then you won't stub it on everything.
All right, anyway, Vic had a list.
Listen, the only thing,
it twice.
What I like about this list is one guy who you always forget about, and I did too, until this list, and it was the top 10 quarterbacks with most playoff touchdowns.
Okay.
It was what?
The top 10 QBs with the most playoff touchdowns. Let's see if you guys could guess all of them.
So you got Brady.
Number 1.
Mahomes.
Like passing touchdowns, Tom Brady.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah,
there's
he's
one.
number 1.
Yeah, obviously. I mean, he played like 30 whatever million.
He played so many fucking games.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
Mahomes? Is Mahomes up there already?
5.
Yeah, he's up there.
Has
Sure.
okay.
So Brady, Mahomes,
Montana?
Montana's number 2.
John Elway has got to be up there. No?
No, he when he won MVP, that was his highest output in a playoff game.
And it was like 3.
I just figured it was so many games that they would have added up.
Well, this list is kind of shocking for that reason, because I thought John Elway too. I was like, John Elway's got to be on there. 5 Super
Steve
Bowls.
Young?
Nope.
I'm going to say Dan Marino's got to be on the list, even though they didn't win anything.
Dan Marino's number 9.
Brett
This
Favre.
is a tough list, right?
Yeah.
Brett Favre,
Brett Favre?
Yeah,
Favre's number 4.
All right.
Aaron Rodgers.
Number 3.
I don't think he's got enough games.
What about Warner? Kurt Warner?
Who doesn't have enough games?
No,
Rodgers
you got it.
playoff games.
No, he is on the list though.
Well, was he?
Yep. He was number 3. He throws a lot of touchdowns.
Fuck.
I mean, there's 2. The next 3 you guys, I can't believe haven't named already.
So you got Kurt Warner,
Favre, Rodgers.
Ben
Sims.
Roethlisberger.
Ben Roethlisberger.
Sims.
Nope. These 2, I am blown away. You guys have not got these 2.
We got the hard ones. Well,
This
the
is
easy
all
ones are
time. You're saying all-time quarterbacks.
forever in the playoffs since they
Eli
started
Manning.
tracking stats.
Eli
Peyton
Manning.
Manning. I cannot believe you guys did not say Peyton Manning.
Well, I said Eli Manning.
You did say Eli. But when I think about throwing touchdowns, I don't think about Eli Manning. I think about somehow winning the ugliest games on the planet.
So who do we have already?
We got all but
We're
one.
only missing one person.
You're
right?
only missing number 1, and you have Tom Brady, Joe Montana, Aaron Rodgers, Brett Favre, Patrick Mahomes, Peyton Manning, blank, Ben Roethlisberger, Dan Marino, Kurt Warner.
The number 1 in passing touchdowns in the playoffs.
Is Tom Brady. That's Tom Brady.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
we're
went in
missing like
order.
number 6 or something like that.
7. We're missing number 7. He's
Drew
retired.
Brees.
He's
Drew
retired.
Brees.
Oh,
Drew Brees.
There we go.
Now, it's interesting that you said Kurt Warner so quickly, because, I always forget about how good that guy actually was when you think, well, what was it, the Rams, the Cardinals, and the Giants, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Dude, the guy,
Well, his run with the Cardinals with Larry Fitzgerald and their Super Bowl run was
They should have
amazing.
won that Super Bowl.
resurrected Larry, dude.
Dude, that was the most amazing playoff run I've ever seen. With like just spectacular catches, throws, the whole 9.
I mean, everybody talks about great quarterbacks, but when you talk about somebody that faced adversity, right, went to a different team, I mean, he won with different teams that when he went to the Cardinals, they were terrible.
Yeah, they sucked.
I mean, Kurt Warner, dude, I always liked that guy.
Did you ever watch that movie?
Kurt Warner. Yeah, the move. That's what I was going to
The
say.
American Underdog?
only
You
is-
ever watch that?
It's a
What is
great
it?
movie.
American Underdog?
I'm gonna have to watch
It's the
it.
Kurt Warner story. It's
Yeah.
fantastic. You got to watch it. It's fantastic.
Okay, I'm gonna have to watch because I like Kurt Warner a lot. When that list came out, I always forget about Kurt Warner, like the NFL nice guy. You know what I mean? Like Larry Fitzgerald.
See, when Kurt Warner first came to the league, I couldn't stand him. I was like, I hate Kurt Warner.
Me too.
Greatest show on turf. I hate this team. And then like when he
Good
went to like the Giants, and you're like, it's Kurt Warner. And then he went to the Cardinals, you're like, okay, I like Kurt Warner. This guy's all right. And then you watch the movie, you're like, man, if I'd have known his whole like story, Holy crap! I'd have loved that guy the whole time.
He changed the face of 3 franchises, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't like he went to the Giants and they were good.
No,
they weren't.
Well, they
good.
did draft Eli, and then he's like, "All right, Eli, go ahead."
But if you would have won 5 championships, you'd be hating him. Like he won just enough.
If he would have won 2
gain
with
the
the chance to
respect
do
and
3
then
in a
go
row,
away.
I'd have hated that guy.
But if you win too much, we hate you.
Yeah, you
won
can't win
just
too
enough.
much.
We love you.
You got to have a little bit. You got to lose a little bit just to make us love you a little more.
Yeah,
you know,
Like feel sorry
like
for you.
Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah,
Yeah. I
like
hate
Elway.
ketchup.
You know, Elway lost 3, and then you're like, "Ah, man, I feel for you, Elway." And then he won 2, and you're like, "Greatest quarterback I've ever seen in my life."
All right, so just to recap real quick, who picked the Chiefs to win? Me and who? That's it. Me, huh?
You and Vic.
Oh, Vic picked the Chiefs.
Yeah, you and Vic, and me and Gary are Eagles.
You want to look ahead to the Nuggets real quick before we wrap this one up?
No, the only thing I wanted to mention about the Nuggets is it seems like the T-Wolves are our kryptonite. For some reason, the T-Wolves give us the ass beatings of ass beatings, and I don't understand why.
Because they have our old GM.
Right.
That guy built that team solely by knowing how to beat the team that he built, right? We won the championship. We get Calvin Booth, who has done nothing but let our players walk away while building the T-Wolves like he did the Nuggets for all those years. He knows how to beat the Nuggets because he built the Nuggets, and we were stupid for letting it go.
And he has Edwards.
Right.
I mean, that helps. He drafted him.
But that matters.
Like Anthony
Edwards
Edwards,
is the next
he's
Michael
great,
Jordan,
but it seems
bro,
like
I'm
it seems
telling
like anytime Anthony Edwards plays the Nuggets, like he goes on fire instantly. Like if it was NBA Jam, he'd have the on fire cheat code. Like it just three's going in. Doesn't matter where it is, it's going in. You're like, how?
That dude's amazing.
I think Nas Reed is one of the most underrated power forwards in the league. So
he
really is.
Well, because of him, they were able to get rid of Cat.
Yeah. I told my buddy that this last year. I said, y'all need to be starting Nas Reed and putting Cat off the bench because Cat's like Joel Embiid, just soft as Alizé and Sprite, right? He's always going to get injured. But you think of having Cat or Joel Embiid coming off the bench because you don't need them. I mean, it's nice to have them, but you don't need them, but they're always injured. Joel Embiid has started 418 or 88 games. I can't remember that exact number, but he has missed 400 games. That's a guy that should come off the bench. No matter how talented he is,
and Cat can shoot the 3 lights out.
Yeah, exactly. So you take a guy like Cat or Joel Embiid and put him coming off the bench because they're just good enough to be so disruptive. It would be incredible, but, turns out that I was right. I said, get rid of Cat, and they did. And he's like, you're crazy. You'll never do that. And then they did. They called him and said,
like, see?
Well, they had to. Contractually.
Yeah. Money.
Yeah.
I don't think Randall's a better player than Cat as far as efficiency, or he hasn't been.
No. He's a lot bigger than he was when he came in the league, too.
Yeah. And he played with Kobe. I forgot about that. Like, Kobe had a lot of young players with him that actually developed into good players.
Julius Randle really Eddie Curry'd up. You guys remember Eddie Curry or no?
The old man?
Eddie Curry, he was like 290 pounds by the time he retired. He was like Eddie Curry.
That's probably why I don't remember him.
Yeah, he was gigantic.
The only gigantic guy I remember is Shaq.
He was not a tiny human being.
Who's going to win the MVP for the NBA? Should be Joker.
It should be, but they're going to give it to SGA because when it's anybody but Joker, it's stats and playing and it doesn't matter. And then when it's Joker, we're going to go best player on the best team.
A center shooting almost 50% from 3.
It's ridiculous.
Because really, if you take OKC, like SGA is good. He is their best player, except OKC can win without him.
He deserves
the Nuggets. Dude, the Nuggets are horrendous without Joker.
Well, you can't just give it to somebody because they deserve it if there's somebody that's more deserving, though.
Well, true. I mean, Gary, but you're wrong because that's what they've been doing for how many years?
That's how they do it.
I agree with you.
That's a problem. Yeah. That's a problem. They shouldn't. Like, voter fatigue is the biggest excuse to not just give it to who fucking deserves it. Who is the best fucking player in the league?
Well, Jordan should have like 10 or 11 MVPs. You know what I mean?
He should have.
Yeah.
So we're clear. We're talking about MVPs. Did you see the other day when Cam Newton said he'd rather have his MVP than the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
That's just so he doesn't look bad for not falling on that ball.
Well, that just shows you
I'm too valuable to fall on this ball.
he's not a team player. Like that guy is not somebody you want on your fucking franchise.
And what
I'd
was
rather
his
have my
excuse?
MVP
Because it shows that
he played.
Yeah,
Because he played hard.
Yeah.
Yep. That was his excuse.
Yeah, it's like
that is
to cap off your MVP year though. You had 2 crucial turnovers in the Super Bowl, and one the ball was right in front of you.
There was 3 of his, right?
Well,
I don't know.
the one that went into the end zone for the first score for the first touchdown
He
of the
threw
game.
a pick, he fumbled it, and he fumbled it. 3.
Boom.
He
Yeah, but
threw
the
it
one
to
that led
Ward
to
across the middle. He overthrew his guy. Ward caught it, got up, fumbled it. Remember? Then Trevathan jumped on it.
Yeah, but the devastating one, the backbreaker, was the one that he fumbled and he didn't like get back on because it was in front of him. That's the one that like you know how they always say like the defense can't like grab the ball and like throw it. We totally threw that ball. We threw that ball 20 yards down the field. Yeah, he went scoop and throw.
Dude,
listen.
Best memories as a Bronco fan was Super Bowl 50.
Yeah.
Recently, the Packers Broncos game was amazing.
The helicopter jump was
the first one, dude. The first championship was amazing.
Pat Bowlen lifting up Lombardi, saying this is for John and handing him Lombardi.
I don't know, man. 50 was good, dude. Like,
that's recency bias, Tony.
Tony, what year were you born?
87.
You did not suffer through the Super Bowl losses watching John Elway literally get annihilated 55-10. If you watched a 55-10 Super Bowl and cried as a child, when Pat Bowlen said this one's for John and handed it to him, that was
I saw us lose to the Seahawks. You want to talk about devastating?
The devastating part was I had to go to work after that.
I had to live life after that.
Imagine being 7 years old and watching the freaking Joe Montana do it to you.
Imagine being a grown-ass man and crying about it.
Yeah, that was an amazing game, though. I will say, that is honestly when I became a 49ers fan, is that football game.
You know, outside of...
Gary, nobody asked you.
Yeah, you know, vote him off the island. Outside of the helicopter and, you know, 50
the one out of the bathroom?
Huh?
I'm just kidding. But...
the one that I absolutely love is the fact that Steve Atwater ended Christian Okoye's career. You guys remember that? Monday Night Football, the Nigerian Nightmare. Who's going to stop him? Tony, you ever seen this play? Okay. Yeah. Where he's like, and he stood over and said, "This is my house, bitch." That
guy was running the football like nobody was going to hit him.
Yes.
He was like, I'm the biggest, like,
no one's even going to attempt.
Atwater just came through and said, ah.
Yeah, he just
loved it.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Are we wrapping this one up?
Yeah, that'll wrap this week up on next 4 quarters. So as always, like, follow, subscribe. If you like what we did, let us know. If you don't like what we did, let us know. And we'll catch you on the side piece. Later.
With laughter and stories, it's our holiday. From old memories to new jokes, we're ready to deal. Life's a wacky game.